Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the news briefing for this Wednesday. I see we have Dr. Moreno with us. So we will go ahead and get started with our COVID-19 information. Good afternoon, Dr. Moreno. Dr. Moreno?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon.
There you are. Just wanted to make sure I got you and didn't lose you. Any updates for us today, or are you ready to take questions?
I can take questions on COVID, ma'am.
All right. So for anyone who has questions for Dr. Moreno, go ahead and put them in the chat, and I'll give people a couple of seconds to do that. All right, Dr. Moreno, here's our first question for you. How many doses has the health department received to vaccinate children 6 months of age and older?
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, I don't have an answer to that question, but I can take it back to the department and see if the department might have an answer for that.
All right, so we'll try to get an exact figure.
Well, we'll see what we have.
All right. Any other questions for Dr. Moreno? All right, Dr. Moreno, can you talk about hospitalizations in Monterey County due to COVID-19? We saw they are increasing every week. Is that something of concern?
All right, thanks, Matt. So we are still experiencing transmission of COVID-19 here in Monterey County and in California. And the data that we have available to us shows that the case rates appear to have leveled off here and in other regions in the state, and that appears that there might be signs that the case rate might actually be starting to decrease. But we'll have to, again, wait and see over the next couple of weeks to see if that turns out to be the trend. So that's a good, hopefully that's a good sign. We still have a high numbers of hospitalizations and a higher positivity rate for those that are being tested. So that signifies that we still have transmission here in Monterey County. So what that means is that we still recommend that people wear face coverings when they're in crowded indoor settings. People stay home when they're sick, and also if people think they have COVID, to go out and get tested.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moreno. Next question for you. Does the health department have clinics scheduled for this age group? And I believe he's referring to children 6 months of age and older.
Thanks, Mia. So I can speak for the Bureau, Public Health. I can't speak for the rest of the department, but the Public Health Bureau is making the vaccine available to everyone 6 months and older. And anyone who would like to look for a vaccine appointment with the Public Health Bureau can go to the MyTerm website and look for an appointment.
Thank you. I have another question here about ICU availability, and I'm not sure if you can answer that question or not, but are we aware of any concerns about ICU availability?
Yeah, I can't speak on behalf of the hospitals, Mia.
Okay, so what we can do is we can direct that question to the hospitals, and hopefully they can respond to the person who asked the question. Next question for you, Dr. Moreno. Reports are that another booster round will be available that targets Omicron. Do you know when that might be available?
I'm not aware of any action that the FDA has taken to make a specific Omicron variant available. I think anyone who's interested can follow the FDA's notifications and announcements to be up to date on what the FDA might be considering.
Thank you, Dr. Moreno. That is all the questions that I have for you right now. Are there any additional questions for Dr. Moreno before we let him go for the day? Seeing none, if any come in, we are going to go ahead and forward those to Public Health. Thank you very much, Dr. Moreno, for stopping in today and answering questions about COVID-19.
Sure, you're welcome, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Our next topic, we're going to be moving on to the 4th of July and fireworks. The 4th of July, as we all know, and fireworks seem to be inextricably linked, but this year is particularly dangerous for fireworks due to the very dry conditions out there. And we're very pleased to have Chief Kevin Kamnikar from the Monterey Regional Fire District to join us. He's going to talk a little bit about fire danger, and then maybe a little, a few tips on why people shouldn't be setting off fireworks this year. And you're on mute.
Can we share screen? I got a slide
Oh, yes,
deck.
please do.
Okay, thanks. So just put together a quick sorry about that. Let me get up.
And we do see your screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it to start. So try it again here. All right. Well, just give me a second here. Let me get a.
Sure.
Hey, Kevin, if you go to the lower right-hand side by the slide bar where the screen size is, there's a picture of a screen. That's where you click to go to slideshow in your lower right.
I actually have something up on the top of my screen right now that I can't get behind it. So I don't know why it's doing that.
All right.
Yeah.
Can you go ahead and select the next?
Oh, there we go. I got it.
All righty.
So yeah, so I was just kind of asked to talk real quick 5-minute spot talk on dangers of fireworks and where they're actually legal in Monterey County. And the biggest thing in Monterey County is we ask people to do their part to prevent fires caused by illegal fireworks or the misuse of the safe and sane fireworks. Here in California, the only fireworks that are actually allowed in California is safe and sane, and it's important to know the restrictions in your area, where they're legal, and to know that all fireworks can be dangerous when handled incorrectly and used in the wrong environment. So the biggest thing is, like I said, is we just want people to understand that, fireworks are dangerous. They do cause fires. Just got a couple pictures on here that, last year alone, there were 18,000 fires that were caused from fireworks. Taking away just the grass out there and the brush alone, we go on quite a few fires where the illegal fireworks get up on the roofs, the wood shake shingles and stuff, get up underneath the shingles and can cause the house fires. But one of the biggest things that we find a problem with is when people actually stick the burnt or spent casings or the fireworks into the garbage cans, where they start to get the garbage cans going, which are usually up against the house and cause more problems. And then, of course, when the fireworks actually are put out, or the aerial ones that are sent out in the grass and the brush and stuff. But even more importantly, just that people need to know that you can get injured from fireworks. This comes from the Consumer Product Safety Commission, where in 2021, there were 9 fatalities in the United States just from fireworks alone, whether they were misused or some kind of malfunction. And 11,500 people ended up in the ERs from being injured from fireworks, and 1,500 of those from firecrackers. We get a lot of questions on just the sparklers alone, on if they're safe. And you can see just from that right there that 1,100 people, mostly kids, were sent to the ER last year from sparklers. The biggest thing about sparklers that we need to know about is that they burn extremely hot. They're dumped on the ground, people step on them, things like that. People like to throw them at each other, whatever, but they're not meant for kids and not meant to throw at each other. And one of the biggest things that people have from injuries is the hands and fingers. So where most of this stuff comes from is from the California Fire Code, section 5601, that basically talks about the possession, manufacture, storage, sale, and handling of all use of fireworks are prohibited. There are 4 exceptions, and one of the exceptions that allows some cities to sell them is exception number 4. And as long as they were passed through laws or ordinances or regulations, that's when certain cities can sell fireworks. The cities in Monterey County that allow fireworks are Marina, Seaside, Salinas, Soledad, Greenfield, and King City. And surrounding counties, Santa Cruz, Watsonville is the only city that allows fireworks. And then in San Benito, Hollister, and San Juan Bautista are the only other ones that allow fireworks. So where are they prohibited in Monterey County? Everywhere outside of the city where they're purchased. So the biggest thing that we like to tell people is if you purchase fireworks within a city, that's where they have to stay. If you take them out of that city limits, you're actually breaking the law. and can have them taken away from you. And of course, out in the wildland urban interface or in the unincorporated areas, fireworks are absolutely illegal to light off, and also in some cities. So when we talk about fireworks, you know, of course, sparklers, if any of these fireworks are illegal if they aren't within the city limits, especially the ones on the right. Anything that's aerial, firecrackers, Roman candles, anything that kind of shoots into the air are absolutely illegal. And the picture on the right, that's them. Ones in the middle are the safe and sane ones. They're illegal, like I mentioned, within the cities that they're sold. And then, of course, sparklers are illegal also in other areas where they're not sold. But just to talk about some safety tips if you do live in a city and you choose to shoot them off, is we don't recommend allowing young children to play with them or ignite them. You know, kids love the sparklers and stuff, but as I mentioned, there was 1,100 injuries from the sparklers in 2021. And they do burn extremely hot. I always recommend just having your garden hose or a bucket of water in case something gets away or something gets where it shouldn't be. Light them one at a time so you kind of keep them under control. Never try to relight or handle malfunctioning fireworks. If the fuse happens to not burn right, then just move it off to the side, throw it in a bucket of water, and discard it. Of course, this is common sense stuff. Don't ever place any part of your body over fireworks. We see stuff on TV all the time of people playing practical jokes. They are extremely hot and they will create third-degree burns on you. And of course, another common sense, don't throw fireworks at each other. After fireworks are completed with their burning, we recommend throw them in a bucket to cool them off and just let them sit overnight before you throw them back into the garbage can. And once again, just make sure that fireworks are legal in your area. And then it's just not recommended if you've been drinking or anything like that to use fireworks. So just to throw out, my name's Kevin Kamnicker. I'm the division chief for our fire district, Monterey County Regional Fire District. There's my email and my phone number if anybody's got any questions, and I'll go ahead and stop sharing.
Thank you very much for that really thorough overview, because it's a little bit of a patchwork in Monterey County where people can and cannot have fireworks. And I think people think if they go out away from the cities that they're going to be safer if they set off fireworks. But in our case, tell us a little bit about the conditions out there that would really it would be highly dangerous for people to set off any fireworks in the rural areas.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, everybody knows how much rain we got this year, precipitation. We went for 2 months without any rain, and we had about a total of 7 to 8 inches. The vegetation's extremely dry out there at an all-time low on the fuel moistures. And everybody's knowing that we've been having a lot of wind lately, and more wind than normal. So if any of the fireworks happen to get into the grass or brush or anything, we could be in for some serious problems. So one of the things with the fireworks out in the rural areas is that if you are caught lighting them off in unincorporated areas, you can be fined and possibly go to jail if you do start a fire. And fines can go anywhere up to $50,000, sometimes more.
Are there any questions for the chief here before we let him go for the day? I think your presentation was very thorough and everybody's got everything. And will you guys, I probably should ask, any special duty roster for over the 4th of July weekend for having people on duty?
Yeah, our stations are staffed set 24/7, along with all the other cities, Salinas, surrounding stations with us, Monterey, North County, Cal Fire. So everyone's staffed 24/7, and depending on the weather and what's going on throughout the state, sometimes we'll have staff stations also. And the engines we usually recommend and try to get them out after hours, just to kind of be out in the public so people see us out driving around, just so that they're not choosing to light anything off.
Kevin, could you put up your contact slide again? We had one request. Somebody didn't quite catch your contact information.
Let's go through. There you go.
So give it a few seconds there. That should do it.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks very much for joining us today and sharing this really good information. And I hope you have a quiet weekend over there at the district.
I hope all of you have a quiet weekend. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank
But-
you.
but-
So we're keeping up on our 4th of July safety topic, but we're bringing in our friends at Hitchcock Road Animal Services to talk about the impact that fireworks and 4th of July have on pets. The shelter is really running at capacity, and I think probably the last thing they need are animals that are spooked by fireworks. So Cindy Burnham, who we have had on many times, is here to share some advice for pet owners about helping their pets through the 4th of July.
Hi, thank you, Maya. Cindy Burnham with Hitchcock Road Animal Services. And I know you've heard the tips and reminders before, but every year our shelter sees about a 20 to 30% increase. And it usually is the week following the holiday after the big booms and the fireworks that scare the animals, who then go and get lost and then can't find their way back home. So we wanted to send out some other reminders, and then we just decided to have a couple events the next couple days to help pet owners. So I'll tell you about those too. But I just wanted to go over some tips on protecting your pets this 4th of July. Making sure obviously your pets are wearing identification tags and are microchipped. And on that note, this Friday and Saturday from 11 to 1 at the shelter, we're going to be hosting a free pet ID tag and chip check. So if your pet has a microchip, but you're not sure what the number is, or if it's registered, you can bring it here and we'll scan it and we'll get that microchip number written down for you and tell you where it's registered. Or if it's not registered, how you can do that easily. You'll have the ability to make a free ID tag to put on your pet's collar. We're not able to insert and give out free microchips at these events, but we can do this. We can give you a tag. Pets that are found wearing tags, people are most likely going to call that phone number as soon as they find the pet. So we have plenty of tags to give out. And we'll scan as many pets that come forward and make sure that chips are registered. We do often find pets with chips with no registration or old registration or never registered. So we're able to help with this, and we've got a great team of volunteers to help us on both of those days. So making sure that your pet is properly identified should they get out. Please resist the urge to take your pets to fireworks displays. It's too much for them. They don't understand them. They can get hurt and they can get really scared. Never leave your pet in the car during a fireworks display or event. Besides, pets shouldn't be left in cars anyways per California law, but they're also going to get scared. If you are going to go somewhere, make sure that your pet is secured in your house or your yard. We've seen dogs jump fences when they get scared that don't normally do that. So don't assume because there's a fenced yard that they'll stay there. Cats as well. One big boom, my cats are under the bed and I don't see them for hours. So make sure that you've thought about what's happening to your pets while you're gone, even if you're out front, doing the safe and sanes, as long as you're in a city that allows them. And if you know that your pet's a pet that gets seriously distraught or disturbed, contacting your veterinarian to see if there's anything that can help with them. Again, a lot of us know how our pets react at this point, but if you do have a pet that you're not sure how they react, it's probably a good year to stay close and to stay home so that you can keep an eye on them. And then I would just add that if you do plan to go away for this weekend and you have somebody watching your pets, please make sure that they know that they have permission to reclaim your pet should they get lost, that they've got pictures of your pets and a way to contact you. Every holiday we get pets who are being pet sat, and pet sitters either don't want to contact the owner to mess up their vacation, or they don't have permission to reclaim the animals. And that can hinder getting animals home. So make sure you've got all of those things. And if I can share my screen really quick, just to add, we are going into this holiday with about 80% capacity dogs, and our cat capacity is about 60%. We had some great adoptions this past Saturday, so it dropped our numbers a little bit, but we are expecting to hit our 100% capacity going into next week. So we just trying to get the word out that we know fireworks are coming. We know our pets react to them. Let's do what we can to keep them safe. And I will share really quick just information about our events. Let's see, where is that screen? Okay. So here's our free ID chip check. Hope everybody can see that. Friday, July 1st and Saturday, July 2nd from 11 to 1. We do ask that all dogs are on leash and cats in a carrier. And we will scan your pet for a chip and write it down so you have it. And you can make a free pet ID tag. We've got some great volunteers who are ready and willing to help keep animals out of the shelter.
Thank you very much, Cindy, for giving pet owners really a variety of options for the best way to secure their pets during this time. Any questions for Cindy about the event, about lost pets? What about your text? What about your text program for if people find a pet?
Yeah, I can share that really quick. Hold on. So we have a texting program, 831 lost or 831 found. I'll put the number up, and it's a quick way to get information out. There's great videos on if you've lost your pet. There's links to all the local shelters, a lost report. And then every 3 days, it sends you a reminder text to click here at the shelter to see if your pet is here. So, and it will go on for actually over a month, every 3 days with different reminders to keep you looking for that. So let me share that really quick as well. So right here, so it's our texting is 1-833-664-0513. I can email this graphic to somebody if they want it. It is on our social media as well. But again, we're trying to get the information out to the community as quick as possible. And hopefully it helps pets stay at home. If they have to come to the shelter and their owners can't be found, we're here. But sometimes we know during the holidays, pets get out, and if they can go back home quickly, then that helps us have the space for the pets that don't have the owners looking for them.
One last question for you, Cindy. I see often on social media people contacting a local vet if they have found an animal to scan for a chip. Is that an option that you're aware of for people who find a lost pet?
Yeah, I think most of the vets will scan for microchips. We can scan for them. Our officers have microchips or scanners in their vehicles as well. So yeah, if you find one, absolutely get it scanned. Don't assume if it doesn't have an ear tip or it doesn't look fixed, then it's not microchipped, because that can be the fastest way to find an owner.
All right. Thank you very much, Cindy. Thanks for all the great advice. And I hope you have a great turnout for the chip check on Friday and Saturday.
Thank you.
Right. So our next topic, many of you know that Monterey County held an emergency exercise yesterday at the Office of Emergency Services. It was a full day training scenario. You might have seen some photos of the event, but what happens now that this event is over? We're very pleased to have Gary Millay, our Monterey County Emergency Services Manager, to talk about the exercise itself, and it's important, but also what happens after that full day training is over, and what do we do with the information that we've gathered? Good afternoon, Gary.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mia. Thank you. Yesterday was a big day for us at the Office of Emergency Services, known as OES. We took about a year to plan this exercise. We try to do this every 2 years. Although because of COVID, this is the first since 2019 that we have. So it was real exciting to get it finally completed, even though some spikes in COVID threatened us a little bit, but we pulled it off. Everybody was provided all of the safeguards possible for working in close quarters. We had, like Maya said, approximately 100 people assigned to the Emergency Operations Center, which we call the EOC. Many of those were participants. Also, we had controllers and evaluators that volunteered their time to be with us. And it was really a great exercise. There was a lot of lessons learned. We chose a scenario that was very challenging. As I gave an interview yesterday, an earthquake is the most comprehensive disaster that the county could face. It really encompasses probably 6 or 7 different emergencies in one. So by choosing that kind of a scenario that's that complex, it really requires all hands on deck. Every single section of the EOC has to be engaged, and they all have something to do, because it could be a fire, it could be a flood, it could be a utility disruption, it could be sheltering, could be lost animals, as we just talked about. It could be transportation issues, supply chain issues. All of those come into play during a significant earthquake. Anybody that's old enough to remember the Loma Prieta probably, has a personal story to tell. But at this point, to answer Maya's question, where do we go from here? We just spent the last 3 hours doing a briefing with our controller evaluators, and we got all of their comments about what went right, what went wrong, how can we improve for the future. This is an exercise, and we understand that that's the time to make mistakes. Our real goal is to get better so that when a real emergency happens, we're at the top of our game. And so we will then compile all of those responses. We also have surveys that each participant filled out with their observations, and we will organize those into what we call an after action report. And we will submit that to all of the members involved and have that on file so that anybody can look at it. It'll be a public document. But that's really, I think that answers your question of where we go from here. The county has really embraced the fact that emergency management has become more and more important as an executive function of the Board of Supervisors. There's a lot of changes coming down because of the support that OES has received from the board, and that support is really money to hire additional staff and to expand our department so that we can better protect the citizens of the county and support the responders as they keep going out the door and handling these emergencies.
Gary, it might be interesting to tell people that this exercise, while it was an exercise, you tried to make it as much as you could like the real thing. There were everybody who would be participating in an emergency was there. The EOC was staffed, and some of the things that happened that we were told that we had to respond to were real life scenarios, and they were coming pretty fast. So I mean, it might be interesting to share, that you really were drilling people if it was the real thing.
Well, yes, that's how you benefit to be better during the real thing. You, as the saying goes, you will play like you practice. And so if you don't have a realistic scenario to practice, then you're not really challenged for when the real play starts. So we need to make it difficult. We need to make it stressful. And we create what we call injects, or those are the little bits of information that come into the EOC during the exercise based upon real scenarios. I created most of these injects because with input from my staff, based on experience that we've had during earthquakes, and based on input from the United States Geological Survey as to what possible damage would occur with this real life scenario on that fault line that we chose. I was a commander during the 1994 Northridge earthquake, and so I was able to draw on that exactly what happens to people and the not only response aspect, but the emotional toll that it takes on the people trying to manage it. So we tried to put all that into play and give people a real nervous sense that they had a real responsibility on their shoulders, but at the same time, they got to go home after one day. So that was good.
That was the fun part. So one last question. Normally we do these type of exercises every 2 years. COVID prevented that from happening. Are you already looking ahead to what we would do next time?
Yes, in the off years, we do a tabletop exercise so that we are doing some kind of an exercise every year for the Emergency Operations Center. And that's what we would actually start planning that in November of this year for next year. But the planning for this full functional exercise takes about 12 months. So that will start probably early 2023.
Right. Thank you. Any questions for Gary while we have him here? I know a lot of people came through and saw the exercise yesterday, but there may be some additional questions. But it looks like you have covered everything. And I really appreciate you, Gary, coming in and kind of giving us kind of the day after what happens next look at yesterday's exercise.
Yeah, thank you. No problem, Maya. I appreciate you having this briefing for everybody.
That will wrap up our briefing for this week. Thank you for joining us. Our next briefing will be next week, and we'll see you then.